Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Strategic Command World at War. I decided to play this game again, having certainly not lost my first game, but not won it either. Things went a bit off the rails, and we created a historical outcome where Germany was basically going to beat Russia, and Japan was going to beat China, but then they were going to be locked on the continent by immense navies that basically were undefeatable because they had wiped out pretty much everything there was to wipe out, leaving them very much trapped there. Now, according to the manual, that would result, as long as America can take out Japan, which I don't think would have been an issue, considering the sheer volume of naval power available, and the fact that Japan gets nuked by script, that results in a minor Allied victory. But I certainly couldn't settle for a minor Allied victory, and so we are going again. I think this only shows you the decisive win conditions here. But for the Axis to get a decisive win, they need to control London, which is not going to happen. And in order for the Allies to get a decisive victory, of course, they need to control Berlin, which was not going to happen either. So, right, one thing that I will change here is that I'm just going to put Poland on AI. Because there's nothing you can do to save Poland. There's just no point in wasting your time interacting with them. Just let the AI do whatever. Who cares? So we'll leave Poland on AI mode because there's nothing you can do to save them. And then we're going to talk about some of the strategy that I've devised. And I have practiced this game, believe it or not. I've practiced it a couple of times just to see if the strategy that I devised would work, and it works every time. So, but I've not played it right through to the end. So, we're going to do quite a bit of talking here about how expert really it changes the math on a few things. Okay, we're just stuck here waiting for the AI to crush the Polish. Interceptors! Okay. Oof. Oof. There's a fair bit of RNG in the attack phase, so This is a rather bad progression in Poland here. Although I don't doubt that they'll still manage to progress, but still. Okay, are we done? Alright, Polish morale suffers from battlefield losses. And everyone declares war. Okay, so let's have a chat about each country's situation and how the game on Expert varies very much from the history. In my first campaign, I played the history. Okay, so this is the Pan security zone, that's fine. The AI won't blunder into it. Yes, let's send the British force to France. No. We are not going to advance into Poland, because this costs us 5% mobilization, and it's not worth it. Okay, let's start with China. So, what you want to do, what you potentially want to do, is you want to entrench at least here, well, at least here, and here, and then here, and then here, or here, and then just entrench all the way down to here. Now, you don't want to waste any time with your engineer, so you might as well start the entrenching early. And you do need to make a decision as to whether you're going to hold this line or the one that's slightly further back. I would say that this line is reasonable. So, let's start fortifying. Now, one of the biggest things is that you can't win the air war. You just can't. Experience matters too much for aircraft. So all that happens is that you just bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed because you're taking many points of aircraft damage for gaining maybe one kill, sometimes no kills. So that's got to go. The other thing is that China doesn't make a lot of money, and a lot of it does not come from sources internal to China. So both of these are potentially not useful for you. Production and industrial tech. So we're going to buy Infantry Warfare. Well, you can claim back 63 from each of these. You can potentially keep production, because it will be useful. But you definitely want to claim back at least one of them. You've already got 1 point in production, and the second point might be useful over time. The next thing is to sell these garrisons. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to sit there. They can't stop the Japanese, so there's no point in having them. Your goal will be to get Infantry Warfare, which you've already bought, Infantry Weapons, which you've already bought, and Artillery Weapons, 2 artillery and 2 anti-aircraft guns. And that is very possible. However, if you are going to get that, you need to avoid paying for too many repairs early on. You'll note that it's September, it's about to be winter, so aircraft will not really get much done during this period. So you have time. What you do want to do is you want to bring this down, which is not necessarily easy to do because you can't force march it. We're going to evacuate this village because it's not worth anything. And you actually want to let, within reason, you actually want to let the Japanese advance so that they have poor supply. Until your fortifications are complete here, you'll want to hold this position. Once the fortifications are complete here and here, then it's okay to withdraw these. Obviously this unit is ruined, so I want to shuffle it out. Shuffle it out like that. Now you can withdraw it further if you wish. I need to clean up this mess with the which units are being controlled. This one won't be attacked for ages, so that one we can turn off. Okay. I want to detach that. Although there's not much I can do with it right now. This should hold. This is actually a fair bit more damage than is typical for a first turn. Okay. Effectively, what we want to do is this unit wants to come here. This unit just wants to retreat away along with this. We want to bring this down to here because there's more units than this HQ can handle. So we kind of want to shuffle the HQs around a little bit. Okay, and that is it for China. Now, for the UK, the same thing applies. Fine to leave these things as they are, but we're not going to bother with long-range aircraft. We're not going to bother with heavy bombers. The thing is, you just can't afford them, and your aircraft will not do anything for you. They will not achieve anything for you on expert, except to just trade out your money. Now, the UK has already got advanced tanks and infantry weapons on the way. It does need infantry warfare and armoured warfare, and it also needs, pretty badly, anti-submarine warfare. So, disband this, and this, and this. It may seem crazy, but it's, you know, all you're gonna do is lose money using aircraft. There is some limited use for them down here, but not up here. And plus, anyway, the US can just build your aircraft for you. That's probably the only country that can actually do anything with them. Okay, now, due to the fact that most of your early fights are going to be against submarines, we will start off by kicking off the submarine. And then we will also kick off armoured warfare, because we are primarily, we're going to build tanks before we start padding out our infantry. But anyway, we will get infantry, and we will get naval weaponry Mark II as well. And there's plenty of time to get all those things. We'll leave these as they are because we got given them for free, but we won't chase after them because the UK, once again, will not be... It will be producing a fair amount of things, but it's not worth it for the amount of time that you've got. Right. Send our sub out. We are, of course, going to raid the convoy to Germany. For as long as it's for as long as it sits there, we will raid it. There's obviously a German sub out there somewhere, and that's fine. We will if it appears, we can harass it away using our carriers. Obviously, we want to protect our carriers. We will also set them to bombing only. Carriers are actually pretty decent. Just don't expect them to be really doing very much for a while. How much more can we move this up? Oh, crap. I didn't realize it was there. Okay, well that did nothing. Okay. I've never pushed up that far before. Okay, well there's really nothing you can do about the sub, but there's really not a lot it can do to you either, funnily enough. But if it comes down here, you can really go hammer and tongs with your carriers. Can use the French destroyer to block the area. Right, let's cruise this out of the way. Remember, you're not at war with the Italians early, so there's really no reason to go slowly, as it were. Okay, one other thing to consider is that there's actually a spare cruiser all the way down here. And we want to send it on its way to join the rest of the fleet. Interestingly, when it comes to the Germans never attack this line. It's like they're scripted to never attack it. So you could, weirdly, you could buy a load of garrisons and put them here. The Germans won't attack. Now, obviously, the same rule applies for the French planes as it does for the British ones. You may want to just pull them away so that they don't become experience points. Right. Nothing really to do down here at this time. Okay, Russia. The same deal applies. There's no point in using the aircraft because they will just die and you'll get nothing out of it. And the advanced fighters is a waste of time. To be honest, the anti-tank is also probably a waste of time. There is an opportunity later to get anti-tank guns, but the main issue with them is that they are they require basically as much investment as tanks, as in, you know, you've got 5 tech levels of them to be effective. And you don't have the money. You can't afford it. And I'm going to buy an extra set of engineers. Because I'm going to build fortifications here. Here. And here. On this road. Up to here. And then across. And then up. And this down. The idea being to choke the enemy here. This bit is like... The problem is that if you build back here, you just have a longer area to defend. And that longer area to defend is problematic for you. And you don't want them to have access to this road, because if you defend behind the river here, they'll shuffle like 20 units along this road to attack a single point. So you might as well defend here, and you've not got all the time in the world either, anyway. So, these 4 units can come down here. No need to rush, we can have an orderly withdrawal. these units can come up here. Okay. The other set of units can move towards what will be a future defensive line. Once again, there is a question as to whether you want to just build the line here, because you've got forest, 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 and then you deny access to this road as well. So you might want to just build the line here, or this part of it. Okay. Now these guys can make it if you force march them, so you don't have to spend any points on them. And so that is what we will do. We will start marching these guys towards the future line. When our 2 engineers are complete, we'll drop one here to put a line here, and then start fortifying up, across, up, and then potentially across here, and then up. And likewise, we'll put the other one here. I think this is. I think we've got to put it here because this is marsh and this is marsh and this is actually flat tile. So we want to put it here and here. Interestingly, Leningrad's only got a max entrench of 4. These roads do allow Leningrad to be attacked pretty seriously. So I think we want to take this flat ground to force the enemy to be in the marshes, and also to prevent the use of this bit of the road to go back and forth. Here, 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 and here. And then follow this down. Across and then down. Probably just down here. Okay. Now, the temptation here would be to, because you need infantry weapons and infantry warfare ASAP. You also want armored warfare ASAP. All of these things need to be ready on time, and they should be ready on time. And we also want artillery weapons, because rocket artillery is how we're going to actually turn the tide. And so there is a question of, and I've decided against it, but you could potentially sell a garrison at this moment. And the ideal one to sell would be this one. If you do sell a garrison, you should be able to, you might have to sell 2 actually. You should be able to get enough money to buy the next to buy either infantry warfare or artillery either way, they both need kicking off. Infantry weapons also needs kicking off. Now, there's a thought that it might be worth selling these because they might not be ready in time to benefit you. I've decided against it, but it's just something to consider. Right, India. Same issue. Long-range aircraft, like why? You won't even get many. I mean, you could build aircraft, I guess. If you actually look at what they can build, they can build 3 armies, 5 corps, special forces and paratroopers. And then they're only allowed 1 anti-air, 1 artillery, and 1 set of tanks. And they're also allowed a fair amount of aircraft, but on expert, aircraft, you either go all in or you don't bother. So with India, the focus really needs to just be cranking out infantry. So we'll keep artillery, tanks, and infantry weapons. Because you will want that 1 tank, and you will want that 1 artillery. I don't see why you wouldn't want either. Then we're going to grab that infantry warfare. And later on we can grab armoured warfare too. And potentially anti-air defense is also worth going for, but the case is that you do need to actually, you do actually need to produce units at the end of the day. Bizarre statement to make. Now, I think everything else can more or less just stay where it is. I don't know what anyone does with the Indian troops, if anything. I guess you could slowly bring them up here to deal with the Italians here, but you're probably just better off not getting involved in this area. Interestingly, Portugal is pretty much guaranteed to join Portugal's pretty much guaranteed to join the Allies on expert. So, just something to consider. You should probably bring the Indian troops up here just in case this all kicks off. Okay, and that is it. Also worth just putting the French army actually in France. We're not going to waste any time and resources on trying to save France, but we will occupy it. Okay, one last thing that I wanted to talk about. On expert, Spain always joins the war. Now, interestingly, when the Germans invade France, if you leave, and this happens every time, if you leave London exposed, the paratroopers will actually jump onto London, which will trigger all kinds of diplomatic repercussions for Germany, all of which are beneficial to you, and then you can just kick them out. because the paratroopers will be completely unsupported, so you can then just go in and ruin them. So this is part of my overall plan. Is I called it Operation Open Door. We'll put artillery here and here, and any other units that we've built. And when the paratroopers land, we will artillery them into the dust and remove them. But the repercussions of doing that, of landing in the UK and taking London, will cause great issues for Germany. We'll talk about more. We'll talk more about that in future episodes. So that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.